Hi, Deb Boulay, August 28th, 2022. Today I'm talking to you about an extremely important topic, and that topic is what happens when your child is not reading at grade level? What does that mean to your child over time? Why doesn't your child read at the appropriate level that the child is placed in? So, this is a very layered, difficult subject to discuss. However, please stay with me. It'll probably take 2 tapes. It'll take this one for me mechanically showing you step by step where the system goes wrong, how the system is broken, and then what can you do? And then the second tape will be what are the things that teachers see as the ramifications of not teaching a student or not being allowed to teach a student how to read past a certain grade level. So here we go. As I've said to you in other tapes, teachers are taught in the many years of college that they must attend how to teach a child how to read. And that's done at a very early age, kindergarten, first grade level. And there's a mechanical way of doing it. It's a process. It is requires a lot of expertise. To give you the gist of it, there are really there's six, but five that are recognized by the district, five components to reading. So the first one is phonemic awareness, sounds, phonics themselves, third, vocabulary, four, fluency, which is the pace at which a child can read, five, reading comprehension. Do they understand what they read, and can they answer questions that aren't right there in black and white? So a question that's inferential would be, why did so and so do that, when it doesn't say why in the text? And then finally, the last one, which is now recognized in many places, is oral language. So those are the components that a teacher has to teach a student. Now, what used to happen when I first started was that you would get the kids early on and you would be able to yourself as a teacher assess where they are. And then the teacher had autonomy. The teacher created what piece of the five or six they would teach in what order when. And based on the results, how the student learned, the teacher could pivot, stop, reteach. That's not what happens today. What happens today is that the district buys pre-made systems, and the teacher doesn't have the autonomy to change the pace or the sequence. The teacher is restricted in what can be taught. Now, for English, each grade has this set of guidelines. So, for example, I just pulled up on Newberg's website. I could not find the things called curriculum maps. They used to be where you could hit district and then you hit departments and then you could pick English and it would tell you, this is what my child in seventh grade, click seventh grade. Here's what the English teacher is going to teach your child September, October, November, December. They're not laid out that way now as of this year. So what I did was I just hit the search and I typed in curriculum maps, and it came up for me for English, every unit for every grade. So I just want to give you an example. Grade 1, the second unit of the year, the teacher has to teach October and November for 6 weeks. This title, Our World Brings Us Together. And again, this is English. The student is supposed to, at this point, be able to, we're talking October, November, first grade, retell stories, including key details, and demonstrate an understanding of the central message or lesson, know and apply grade level phonics and word analysis, decode words, self-correct recognition and understanding, use illustrations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the knowledge the student is supposed to have, again, October, grade 1, I can monitor my reading to help me understand what I read. I can work with a partner so we can help each other read better. I can retell the story, telling the first thing, then the next, and after that, and finally, I can, and it goes on and on and on. So already at grade 1, October, November, there is an assumption that the student already knows how to read the basics. As you progress through these maps, again, you can do it at your own leisure. You'll see by the time you're in like third grade, you're not talking anything other than of those 5 components. You're talking about vocabulary, adding to vocabulary. It is assumed that your kid knows how to read. And many, 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 I've said this before, many, many, many students do not know how to read. When they're in ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, they missed it somewhere. And so each year that your child is in school in English, that teacher has to teach your child other things. You're not going to find in a 7th grade class the English teacher teaching the students how to read. It's not going to happen because that's not the way it's designed in Newburgh. So these packages are pre-purchased, and then the teacher, despite all the knowledge that they've been given on how to teach reading and comprehension, have to follow this script that the district bought. Now, I'm pretty sure you're already going to guess that, is it the same system all the time? No, they come and they go. Currently, the system that's being used in Newburgh is one called ARC, ARC, and that doesn't touch upon phonics. Well, if you can't understand the sounds, how are you even reading in those lower grades? So if your child, for whatever reason, did not understand the initial stages, the foundational stages of reading, it's not going to be taught somewhere else. I taught English 9, English 10, English 11, English 12. English 11 is the year where your child has to take a Regents exam in order to graduate. I can tell you from firsthand experience that at least 70% of all ninth graders could not spell library, could not spell Wednesday, could not write a complete sentence, could not orally recite back a story I would read to them. And yet I couldn't teach them how to do that. Instead, I had to teach them literature and very specific skills. So it's kind of like a pretending by the district. Let's pretend that your child knows how to read and let's just go from there. Well, do you really want your child to be unable to read their own text and have to rely on a book that's read aloud to them or one that's on tape? I mean, that's not how the world works. You know that, and I know that. So my suggestion is this: you need to know, if you do not know what your child's reading and writing level is at this moment in time, you should. Shame on you. You should. If you do not, you can contact the school and ask for the last set of scores that were taken. If that's going to be a big production by the principal, and again, you cannot blame the teachers on this. The teachers are doing what they are mandated and directed to do, and they don't break that directive. If their boss tells them this is how you're going to teach and this is the seat, blah, 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 that's what they have to do. So your discussions need to be with the administrators or downtown Newburgh. You find out what your child's reading and writing level is. If that, as I said, is a big fiasco and they're giving you a hard time with that, keep it simple. Go to Barnes and Noble. You don't even have to buy a book. Go to Barnes and Noble, ask the clerk behind the desk, where are, let's say your kid's in 5th grade. Where's the 5th grade section, 5th grade reading level? And the inside of the book will also tell you. Have your kids stand in the aisle and have your child read a chapter to you. If they are unable to do that with any fluency or accuracy, your child is not at the reading level. If they read through it, then start asking questions. When did this take place? What were the characters? Tell me about so-and-so character. Why did the character do that? If your child is unable to do those basic tasks from what they just read, there's a problem. Your goal is to get your child on the appropriate reading and writing grade level now, whether they are 8 years old, reading at a kindergarten level, 10 years old, reading at a kindergarten level, 15 years old, which I've seen over and over at a kindergarten level. No matter where your child is, it's your job, in my opinion, to persuade this district to teach them how to read. Forget about reading about Romeo and Juliet or having it read to your kid. Who cares about Romeo and Juliet if your child is unable to read at grade level? That 11th grade Regents exam that they have to take is at first, second year of college. So if they're reading at a fourth grade level, you tell me how they're going to do on the test that they need to graduate. This is not okay. System is broken. All right. So you know what you got to do. You find out where your kid is, get a proper assessment of where they are at, and then you make the district teach them. Now, part two, they're not, please do not allow them to be taught in front of a screen. There's a program called iReady, which is bells and whistles, look so good, make sounds. What's this word? If your kid is 12 years old, come on. You need to have a licensed, certified teacher in front of your kid, no matter the age, to teach them how to read, not through ARC, none of that. How to read, the phonics, the phonemic awareness, the vocabulary, the reading comprehension, the oral language, and the fluency. That can only be done human to human so that the teacher can redirect and help your kid read. If we're graduating kids that cannot read and write or can't multiply 1 times 4, then we should just shut down. That's my opinion. So please, for your child, it was always my job to try to produce good citizens in this community, not just a kid who made it through 3rd grade, 4th grade, 9th grade, 11th grade with a whole lot of, quote, help being read to, having their work edited over and over. They have to be able to do it on their own. You want them to do it on their own. If I'm frustrated, I am. So I hope I delivered to you the information that you need to advocate for your kid, because if you're not going to do it, it's not going to happen. At least it hasn't happened yet. Thank you.